Ralph S. Northam, a Democrat, celebrating his election as Virginia's next governor with his family members at George Mason University in Fairfax, VA, on Tuesday night. Gabriella Demczuk for The New York Times. By any measure, Tuesday was a big night for Democrats, especially in Virginia, where they swept the top offices, including governor, and made strong gains in the General Assembly. Here are some key takeaways from the biggest election night since President Trump's victory a year ago. A suburban rebellion propels Democrats. Susan Johnston helping coordinate canvassing efforts at the Mainers for Healthcare headquarters in Portland on Tuesday. Maine became the first state to vote to expand Medicaid. Robert F. Bookout, Associated Press. It was largely a suburban rebellion, where more moderate voters rejected Mr. Trump and embraced Democrats. Be it New Jersey, Virginia or Charlotte, North Carolina, Democrats rode in a wave of victories that will give them energy for candidate recruitment and fundraising heading into the midterm elections next year. In addition to winning the top races for governor of New Jersey and Virginia, Democrats also captured the mayoral post in Manchester, New Hampshire, the state senate in Washington, along with other important victories in state house elections. Maine also became the first state to vote to expand Medicaid, the 32nd in all under President Barack Obama's signature Affordable Care Act. With 66% reporting, Maine has voted to expand Medicaid, the first state to do so at the ballot box. https://t.code2objufrancopic.twitter.com Yasov 5 Jared, Portland Press Herald at Press Herald November 8, 2017. It's hard to have Trumpism if you don't have Trump. Ed Gillespie, the Republican candidate for governor of Virginia, addressing his supporters in Richmond on Tuesday. Parker Mickles voice for The New York Times. Ed Gillespie, the Republican candidate for governor in Virginia, tried his best to the call of Mr. Trump's followers in stoking the nation's culture wars. He was harsh on immigration, supportive of Confederate monuments and opposed to those NFL players who have taken a knee. But his public record before, as a National Party chairman, White House counselor and Washington lobbyist, had few of those harsh edges. And like a lot of Republicans, he only grudgingly supported Mr. Trump's candidacy. Most notably, Mr. Gillespie did not seek to campaign with the president in Virginia, settling for support via Twitter. That left him with almost all of Mr. Trump's baggage and few potential benefits. Trump is allergic to accepting blame. President Trump speaking to the National Assembly in Seoul, South Korea, on Wednesday. Doug Mills, The New York Times. Mr. Trump, traveling in Asia, said that Mr. Gillespie's problem may well have been not embracing him enough. The president's approval rating in Virginia was 38% in one recent poll, and he lost the state to Hillary Clinton by more than 5 percentage points. Mr. Trump posted a message on Twitter endorsing Mr. Gillespie several weeks ago, then added a few more on Election Day. But with the stain of losing, Mr. Trump quickly cut ties. Ed Gillespie worked hard but did not embrace me or what I stand for. Don't forget, Republicans won 4 out of 4 House seats, and with the economy doing record numbers, we will continue to win, even bigger than before. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump. November 8, 2017. Northern Virginia is the clear epicenter of the state's political power. The suburbs of Northern Virginia outside Washington, D.C., are now undeniably the most important region of the state politically. Wealthy and well-educated, the counties have rapidly become strongly Democratic, and population projections for the state indicate the areas will continue to far outpace more rural and Republican areas in growth. The counties in Northern Virginia are broadly diverse. Prince William County now has more minorities than it does whites. The white population in Loudoun County has dropped almost 30 percentage points since 2000, and Asians are now the largest minority group, at 17%. Hardline Republican policies on immigration have helped drive immigrant voters to Democrats. Couple that with suburban women gravitating to the party, and it is a coalition so large in number that it is difficult to beat. Republicans have not won statewide in Virginia since 2009. The next major test will be the Senate race in 2018, when Senator Tim Kaine, a Democrat who was Hillary Clinton's running mate last year, will seek a second term. His prospects now look much better. Pragmatism wins over purity. Progressives who did not enthusiastically back Lt. Gov. Ralph S. Northam, the Democratic candidate for Virginia governor, will be rethinking their theory of the race. Mr. Northam had a resume that fit the profile of his state. He is an Army veteran, a physician and a moderate politically. He was, in a word, electable. That does not mean the friction between the institutional party Democrats and those in the Bernie Sanders wing will fade. But the lesson from Virginia is that those fights in the primary are fine as long as each side coalesces behind the nominee. Mr. Northam defeated former Representative Tom Perriello, who was favored by progressives. But Mr. Perriello worked energetically for Mr. Northam's election. Red counties stay red. Supporters of Mr. Northam celebrating his election in Fairfax, VA, on Tuesday night. Gabriella Demczuk for the New York Times. Mr. Northam's voice may have gone down easy in the vast southwestern part of Virginia, but there was no political affinity. While many Democrats have argued that their party needs to work to regain the support of rural white voters, the results in Virginia, at least, show that those efforts may be futile. But there was a notable exception. Mr. Northam won in Virginia Beach, a traditionally Republican area, showing perhaps that the backlash against Trumpism could extend to parts of the military population that dominates that region. An end to Chris Christie's smashmouth politics. Philip D. Murphy, a Democrat, greeting a crowd at Convention Hall in Asbury Park, NJ, after his victory on Tuesday. Brian Anselm for the New York Times. With a convincing, if expected, victory for Governor of New Jersey, Philip D. Murphy, a former Wall Street banker, brought an emphatic end to the Chris Christie era. The Garden State now joins 6 other states that have Democrats in control of the legislative and executive branches. Mr. Murphy managed to persuade voters of his transformation from wealthy dealmaker to progressive Democrat, and he has vowed to make his state a firewall against the policies of Mr. Trump. Now comes the hard part for Mr. Murphy, a relative political novice. Will he be able to deliver on his promises with Democrats controlling the legislature? The burden will be even higher for him to deliver.